All right, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brussels barely a week after the horrific terror attack. In fact, he will be meeting his counterpart there and also be holding talks with EU leaders. Remember, India is present there for the India-EU summit, and a free trade agreement is being talked about between the two sides. But as of now, terror and trade, of course, are going to be the two important factors which will be discussed in the Prime Minister's packed schedule in Brussels. What we also understand is that this visit to Belgium is likely to give a relaunch of sorts to the relation between India and EU, which had derailed a bit, or rather dented, after the Italian Marines issue. In the wake of the terror attacks, the Belgian army has been deployed to provide security to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Prime Minister is holding a bilateral summit meeting with his Belgian counterpart, Charles Michel, and discuss ways of dealing with terrorism. The India-EU summit is aimed at deepening the strategic partnership between the two sides, which is likely to deliberate on ways to finalize the free trade agreement. The case of the two Italian Marines accused of killing two Indian fishermen in 2012 is likely to be discussed at the summit. Remember, this has been a niggling factor between the two sides for so many years. Modi will also meet top businessmen, including a delegation of diamond traders, and will also address the Indian diaspora. Now, barely a week after the horrific terror attacks, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brussels to attend the long-pending India-EU summit. In the wake of the terror attacks, the Belgian army has been deployed to provide security to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Modi will be holding bilateral summit meetings with his Belgian counterpart, Charles Michel. In fact, the Prime Minister paid his tribute to the terror attack victims at the metro station, where one of the attackers blew himself up in a metro train. In his departure statement, the Prime Minister had hailed the resilience of Belgium. He said, "No words are enough to salute the resilience and the spirit of the people of Belgium. We stand shoulder to shoulder with them in the wake of the horrific attacks in Brussels and share the grief of those who lost their loved ones." Senior editor Gaurav Sawant is now joining us with more details. Gaurav, even as we speak, we are seeing those visuals coming in there of the Prime Minister in Brussels. He first paid a visit to the attack site, the metro station, where a suicide bomber blew himself up. It's the same place where India lost one of its own.
You're spot on there. Prime Minister Narendra Modi sending out a very strong signal. India stands shoulder to shoulder with Belgium, with the European Union in this attack that took place in Belgium, the worst since Second World War. India also suffered a personal tragedy, not just in terms of injuries to two Indian citizens, but also the death of Raghavendran Ganeshan, who was killed in the Melbeek metro station attack. At ground zero, there were apprehensions about the Prime Minister's security when he travelled through the city and to this metro station. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sent out a strong signal by going to ground zero and laying a wreath. There is a very strong message that's also being sent out that the world needs to unite against terror, and there needs to be one definition of terror, and the world needs to ensure that there are no safe havens for terror anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. Gaurav Sawant there joining us with the very latest about the Prime Minister's itinerary in Brussels, India-EU summit, his meeting with his counterpart there as well. But first, the Prime Minister went to pay his tributes to those who lost their life in the horrific terror attacks in Brussels last week.
Obviously, we can, focus on the positive things that we did there against Australia.
We've got a very different team to those games that we played. We went through quite a few players throughout those three games.